Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining me for another edition of Behind the Scenes. I'm Rebecca Whitaker. I'm a content strategy manager here at Vidyard. And today I have with me a former winner of the Video in Business Awards Pitch Perfect category, someone who consistently raises the bar with his creative and hyper-personalized use of video. Please join me in welcoming the enterprise team lead at Dynamic Signal in Chicago, Frank Weschler, everybody. Hey, Frank, how's it going?
Hey, Rebecca, doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks for joining me. Nice
Sure.
to see you. How's Chicago?
Oh, Chicago's great. Right now, we have a pretty standard spring day where it's only partly cloudy, but about 40 degrees. So,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
yeah, not bad.
Yeah, we're almost there. Heading into the nice weather. It's always a good sign.
Yeah, always just around the corner, but we never seem to get to that corner until like maybe middle of June.
Yeah, we're in the same boat here in Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for joining me. I guess we'll dive right in. Do you want to
Sure.
start by just telling me a little bit about Dynamic Signal, what you do there, and sort of maybe what your customers love the most about Dynamic Signal?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in a nutshell, Dynamic Signal is an employee communication and engagement platform, and we help companies better connect and engage with their employees. So, we want to make sure that, the people that we work with have a, seamless interaction with their own employee base and, sort of help bridge that gap when we can. Things that, Dynamic Signal or rather that customers love most about us is probably our personalization. We have a really strong relationship with the majority of our clients. So, I'd probably say that's where we're strongest there.
Awesome. I love that. Sounds like personal connection is at the very core of your business and everything you do, which is great. And I wonder, just easy transition into video, how does that play into your use of video? Or maybe how did you get started using video, and was it inspired by that personal connection aspect?
Yeah. I've always loved, being able to find that, personal connection one way or the other, and somehow relate it back to, how it, resonates with me. And then once you're able to find that commonality and common ground, it really starts to help, open doors and, bridge gaps all the more. So, when I was first initially hired as an SDR at Dynamic Signal, in the middle of our training, we were told that one of the training segments was we're going to learn how to do video, and my eyes got real big, and I was like, "Ooh, what's this about?" And essentially, when I heard that we were going to be able to literally put a face to the name instead of just sending out cold emails, I got really, really excited. But I knew it didn't stop just there, right? It was more than just putting on putting your name and a company's logo on a grease board and holding it up to the camera, right? There's so much more beyond that in terms of making a personal connection. And so I kind of pride myself on trying to find that and take advantage of it as best I can.
That's cool. So you were using originally when you started, you said you were doing it in a sales instance. So what were your goals then in that case? Like customer connection, like were you measuring yourself, or how did that start?
Yeah, so we kind of had standard metrics across the board. I think it was something like we needed to make out of the gates, we wanted to make something like 10 videos a day, and kind of send them all out to potential prospects. And that takes up a lot of time in making a good video, but I wanted to go again one step further. I wanted to make a great video, and so I'm like, well, instead of making 10 videos a day that are all kind of the same, what if I made 5 videos that were all hyper personalized to a specific person, and I'm trying to make a genuine impact on their inbox, right? When they click that video, they're gonna have a good time watching it, as opposed to having, instead of just putting the copy on the page, you put it on the camera. It's still kind of the same message, and it might not catch the person's eye, but for example, my dog is somewhere around here. Sometimes he'll come on camera because I find out that the person I'm reaching out to also has a corgi, right? So I'll bring him into frame and we'll talk about corgis, and then I'll, gently suggest, some other things I thought we could talk about, right? But my main focus is making the personal connection, and the product is kind of secondary in that initial touch.
That's awesome. Well, I've had the pleasure of watching a couple of your videos just through Video and Business Awards and just in our, relationship as a customer and with Vidyard. But I was wondering if I could show a little clip so that people watching can see what kinds of videos you're talking about.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
All right. I'm going to hit play and then we'll talk about it.
Great.
Hey, Vale. This is Frankie over at Dynamic Signal. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm sure you get tons of emails every single day and maybe even some videos. But I thought to myself, what if I made you a video while I'm on one of your mountains, and even more so, I'm in one of your terrain parks, giving you my pitch. So I figured, what the heck? Let's give it a go, huh? I think it'd be pretty fair. I was hoping to connect with you guys and share with you a little bit about what we're doing when it comes to employee communications and engagement. I think we can really have a valuable conversation when it comes to sharing a couple of customer stories about how we work with others similar in your space, like Powder, and maybe just have a easy conversation surrounding how we're able to help better connect and engage employees. All right, let's keep going. Through a mobile device. We can also help offer analytics and tracking to ensure that you're doing everything possible to make sure you're connecting with your employee base all the way down the line. So, with that being said, I think we have a really valuable conversation surrounding employee communications. So, hopefully we can connect here soon and talk then. Thanks so much, and we'll see ya. Bye.
I love that video so much for a few different reasons that I'll get into, but what inspired you? How did this video come into creation?
Yeah. So I had Vale as a enterprise outreach, and I wanted to make sure that, I was able to separate myself from any other forms of outreach. So I have family in Colorado. We have a house in Blue River area, which is not far from Breckenridge. And so when I went out to visit my brother, we made a point to go out to Breckenridge, which is part of the Vale family, and their epic pass with everything. And so I wanted to, make that connection that, not only am I, passionate about, snow sports and outdoor activities, I also love specifically their chain of mountains. So by being able to take the pitch outside of the office and bringing it literally onto their doorstep to show that, I'm willing to go the extra mile, I think that might translate into whatever relationship we're able to build beyond that, right? So that was kind of my mentality going into it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It really shows that commitment and personal connection for sure. And yeah, that's great. And the other thing I just love about it is just, it's so authentic. It's so casual, like even within the video, you fall down, you're like, let's keep going. And that's kind of something I love just about video connection in general. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it makes a video better when it's not so perfect?
Yeah, bringing that level of is genuinity, is that a word? Genuineness,
authenticity,
right?
Genuineness,
authenticity, yeah. But by letting them know that you're a person, you're not reading off a script, right? That was one of the other things that I kind of took into that specific video. If you're making a video from your office, what's to say I don't have a script right in front of you here that I'm reading off of, right? If you bring it out into the field and you're, again, just showing yourself, showing, the product, showing, how you're able to kind of, work off the cuff, it's that much more, real. So I think by having, a couple blemishes and rolling through it and showing that you're a person, it only adds to it all the more at the end.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And sort of when you are off script, I know it's hard. Like when you're first starting out, I always want to read a script as well, because it's, it's a crutch, and there's nothing wrong with doing it once in a while, but it really shows the level of confidence you have in your own message too, like it shows that you actually believe what you're saying when you're not just reading off of the script, which is
Absolutely.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. So how was the response? Did you get a good response for that one, or?
I got a pat on the back.
Nice.
I unfortunately we were not able to, come to terms with them, but it was a very fun video to make, and I did get a shout out from the people that I reached out to.
Nice.
Saying that it was certainly unique in the approach, but we're still going after them.
Nice. You made the impression anyway. That's great.
Yeah,
They won't forget you anytime soon.
No, not at all.
Do you have when you go about creating sort of videos that require a little more effort and a little more commitment, do you have a way that you sort of decide who you're going to spend that extra effort on, or is it just like the personal connection that inspires you? How do you kind of decide?
Yeah. I'm passionate about a lot of things, right? As the saying goes, it's better to know a little about a lot than a lot about a little, right? So I like to, dabble in various kinds of things. And if something like cars, for example, resonates with me, I made another video that for Porsche. And I saw someone had posted on their blog about, the anniversary of the 1971 Porsche 911 Turbo Carrera, and it was that particular model is famous because it was one of the first cars that had the big massive wing on the back, right? Air cooled, really, really cool cars. So I, liking cars and knowing that it's a Porsche, and I wanted to reach out to this specific person. Lego made a 1971 Porsche Carrera model, and so I made a video of myself building that Porsche in my workshop, and I sped it up, times 20 because it takes a long time to build it. But the catch line was I built a Porsche by hand in my workshop. And they ate it up. They loved it. It was a really fun video. But trying to find those specific angles and then tying them back to their interests, it really, really does make a difference.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah. Oh, I love the subject line for that video too, because that is an important part, right? And you have to first get their attention to open the email before they kind of go to the video. Do you have any tips on subject lines? Yeah,
so subject lines, I would say, are as important, if not more important, than the actual video, right? Because you can make, a Martin Scorsese-like film, but if the subject line doesn't get them to open it, it's just going to sit there, right? Mm-hmm. So, having something that's going to catch their eye and resonate with them is really going to help. So, honestly, simplicity is your friend here. So if you call them by name, so hi Rebecca, I made you a video, that works great. But if you're reaching out to somebody who, again, you did the background, you did the research, and you saw that they love hot dogs, right? So, right? I mean, I could go for hours talking about hot dogs. I love them, the whole history of them. But in the subject line there, right? You could say something like, "Hi, Rebecca, saw you loved hot dogs. I do too," and then you can have a hot dog, in frame, right? So speaking to that, and kind of having a teaser in the thumbnail is a nice little combo there.
Yeah, that's great. It's a good tip for sure.
No.
How do you, I guess, just going with talking about emails and sending videos and things like that, how do you decide when to send a video or send something else? Because I'm assuming you don't send a video every single time. Do you have a way, or?
Yeah, and that's a good point. Yeah, you don't really want to send a video every single time because you don't want to send the same video more than, I would say, at the very max twice, because the rule of three kind of backfires for you in this instance, because if you do it 3 times, then you kind of come off as pandering, right? First time, it's fresh, it's new. Second time, it's a gentle reminder. Third time, they've definitely seen it at this point, right? You kind of want to take your foot off the gas a little bit. So usually I like to send the video as my very first, like the intro, the one that breaks down the door. Because once you do that, it's a pretty strong introduction, and you can speak to that if you get them on the phone in your next outreach. Because, you know, anybody can say, oh, I'm calling because of an email I had sent before. Did you happen to catch that? Yeah, I probably did, but I also got 50 other emails in my inbox, right? Whereas if you say, I'm calling about the video I had sent you, did you happen to catch that? Well, you're the only one who sent me a video, so yeah, let me go take a look at that, right? So it really just helps you separate yourself from the rest of the pack that much more.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. So I think you're more into customer success now. Am I right?
Right now, yeah, presently. Mm-hmm.
Right. So how has that changed the way you use video, or how do you use it in your current role in comparison to previously?
Yeah. So I've pivoted to being able to use video as an instructional tool. So, you know, prior to this, it was more outreach and you know, proactive, whereas now it's more inbound and reactive. So if people are having issues trying to figure out how something on the platform works and they're not quite getting it, already that is a fuse for a frustration bomb, right? And if you start sending emails back and forth and they're still not getting it, that fuse gets shorter and shorter and they just get more and more frustrated. Whereas video helps bridge that gap so quickly. And even after that video, if they're still like, you know, I don't really quite get it, then that makes for a gentle transition into, you know, maybe setting up a follow-up call if that's better. But by being able to be like, you know, hey, I'm not really sure how to, you know, upload a certain list, I would go into our platform, I would share my screen with my little face tucked in the way in the corner there, but they're focusing on the screen and I'm walking them through step by step exactly how to upload this file, or, you know, how to, you know, create this post. And then after that, I just send it out to them, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, this is exactly what I needed. That was amazing. Thanks so much.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been using the same sort of feature within my own role, just because it's so much easier to show instead of tell. And yeah, as you said, and also the ability to pause and go back and watch it again, or
exactly,
you know, send it to other people. If someone on my team is having the same problem as me, I can forward the video and they can just have it. And it's just really efficient, especially with you know, the digital first environment that we're all kind of dealing with now. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of pushed everything to the forefront, honestly, this past year, just, you know, making that transition. It's been that much more prominent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Videos really helped as a tool for doing more, you know, because we're losing all that FaceTime. So yeah. And there are a lot of teams, speaking of that, who are just kind of ramping up and getting started with video and getting started to embrace it. Do you have any advice for either individuals or teams on how to kind of get started and embrace it and overcome their maybe initial mixed feelings?
Yeah, you know, I think, again, prior to the pandemic that we're all going through, a lot of people were camera shy, and that still might be the case, right? You know, being in a Zoom room with 50 other people, you can kind of sit in your corner and keep to yourself, even if your camera is on. But when you're doing a video, it's just you and the camera, right? And you can still get a little camera shy there. And just know that, you know, by doing this, you are showing a level of vulnerability that translates into humanness, right? It shows that you're willing to take risks and that you know, are willing to, you know, take that extra step to make that personal connection, right? And, you know, own that vulnerability. I've had people on my team that, you know, weren't as comfortable making videos, but they still like doing it, and they would just call it out. They're like, I understand that I probably look like a goofball right now, but I wanted to reach out to you specifically because of, you know, X, Y, and Z, right? So, you know, owning that that feeling and making it your own, and using it to your advantage is only going to pay dividends.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get started and get going. I mean, even before we started our call today, I know you and I were talking about, remembering to breathe when you're on camera and stuff like that. Do you have any of those tips for being confident and comfortable on camera?
Yeah. So anytime I make a video, I always like to pretend that I'm pitching it to my mom.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah. So, someone that you're comfortable with and that you like doing things for. So it adds a smile to my face, it adds some lightness to my voice, and I'm not intimidated, anymore. If I were to be, pitching this to, Stephen Colbert, I'd probably be pretty intimidated, but I'd try to keep that, that feeling in the back of my head, and, just kind of save face up front.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm going to start doing that and making my videos for my mom.
Yeah.
One of mine is just trying to limit the number of takes I do as well, because I'll find I'll do so many takes trying to get it perfect, but it's never going to be perfect. So I don't know. I try to do maybe 3 and pick the best one, unless something goes drastically wrong.
Yeah. Because the second you start monitoring your takes, you go down I call it the takedown hole, right? Like the first video that you do, say the video is like a minute long, you get to like 45 seconds and you're like, let's do it again. And then it gets down to 30 seconds. Let's do it again. And then it gets down to 15, 10. And at one point you're just clicking refresh. And you've lost, 15 minutes in your day at that point. So to your point, just monitor the takes, be confident, hit it out, and, go with it.
Love it. Good advice for everyone. Well, this is awesome. I think I pretty much talked your ear off. So thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be watching for future video and business submissions, and, you're going to have to top yourself.
Got to go for the 3-peat,
Yes, exactly. We've got some legendary videos from you, so I expect more to come.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Frank, and we'll talk to you soon. And for everyone watching, tune in for our next episode of Behind the Scenes. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.